start recording. All right. So I'm going to start off with the goal for these sessions. I don't know how many of us have actually been here since we started this in February. Um, myself and a group of people, they're called the New Kings. We have an investment group, and we decided to put together 7 or 8 income streams actionable series. So the word there is actionable. We wanted to put together something that would enable people to just take action on different income streams. And so the first session, Masterclass, was in February, Financial Markets Masterclass. We'll talk about what we did in that Masterclass. The second one held in March, the real estate, and then we're now in April and we're taking on crypto and commodities. So my goal really is to help 1 million people to achieve financial independence. It's a very lofty goal, but one that keeps me up every day. Some of my values are a kingdom mission. I have a mission to spread the gospel of the kingdom, especially on the finance and economy mountain. I'm big on stewardship because I believe in the stewardship-based economy. I also like to build capacity in myself and in others. I believe passive income is the way to go if we are to develop and also do the things that we are put on this earth to do. If you're spending your every waking hour chasing money, I wonder what time you would have, to do the real things that you were put on this earth to do. And then, of course, time redemption. A lot of us are currently trading. We're currently trading our time for money. And that is actually a bad trade because you can't get your time back. You can lose money today and get money, but you can't get your time back. And then finally, generational wealth. It's very important. A lot of us didn't get anything handed down to us. And so we started our life working hard just to get to where we are currently at. I don't think that's the best thing to do or get your children to do. So the whole idea of generational wealth is that your children would build on your shoulders, as it were. So they don't start at the same place you started. So those are the kind of values that drive my life. And like I mentioned, we're going to be having other master classes coming up very soon. As you can see on the schedule, we have intellectual property in May. We have master classes that will be targeted at creatives in June. And then the agric and food, that will be rebranded entrepreneurship. And then for those 9 to 5 people, die-hard career people, we're going to do one for you guys in August. And then finally, professional services. So these guys are the people who are solo entrepreneurs or they focus on the service industry as opposed to creating products. So that's really how we intend to get this actionable income streams classes going for 2025. All right, just give me a minute, please. Okay, so without further ado, let's go into it. Last month was the real estate masterclass, and in February, we had the financial markets masterclass. And the journey so far shows that we have actually put up 9 actionable income streams. The first is stock. The second is mutual funds, treasury bills, notes and bonds. The fourth, commercial papers. We had experts come on to tell us how to get involved in these things. Okay. And then for the real estate masterclass, we had some other practitioners come on to teach us about land banking and how we can get involved. We also have, we had somebody else talk about co-ownership, and then real estate, international real estate, and then fractional ownership and real estate investment trusts, so REITs for short. Fantastic sessions. I don't know how many of us on this call actually joined those sessions. So by show of hand, please, again, let's know how many people were either in the financial market masterclass or the real estate masterclass. So show of hands, please. Okay, I'm seeing some hands go up. So maybe I will just pause here and ask those people who have hands up to just unmute and tell us maybe one thing they took out of those classes and if they have taken a step to invest in any of these products, as it were. So I can see Grace. Grace, your hand is up, please. Let's unmute. Did you just put your hand down? Grace, go ahead.
Good evening.
Yeah,
Good
go
evening,
ahead.
sir.
Good evening.
I attended both masterclasses, the financial masterclass, the investment masterclass, yeah, I think financial, yeah, and the real estate masterclass. Um, for the financial market masterclass, I actually took a step afterwards and I started investing in mutual funds through Stanbic IBTC. Prior to that time, I had actually known, but up until then, for some reasons, I was still procrastinating. But once that masterclass was done, I just decided to go straight into it. And then my mutual funds is doing well as I speak, and I'm tracking my returns
Daily
every day. I can
returns.
see it dropping every day.
Fantastic.
Yes, sir. Then real estate. Real estate masterclass also motivated me to actually go into real estate because it's something that's been on my mind since late last year. I also spoke with a real estate guru who also encouraged me to actually go into it. And so I actually started one or two things into real estate. So yeah, it's been a very helpful one and I'm taking great actions in both areas. Thank
Fantastic.
you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so who else? We have a slot for one more person to tell us the experience after attending both masterclasses. All right, Chinwe, go ahead. You're muted, though. I don't think we can hear you. Or is it just me? Can you guys hear Chinwe? Okay.
No, we can.
No, you can't hear Chinwe. And I think there's somebody doodling on my slides. Please kindly don't do anything on your, just listen. All right. Okay, Chinwe, I think you're having some problems with your mic. Okay, any other person? I saw many hands up. Oh. What happened? Ah, okay, you just attended the class. You didn't do anything. All right, let's move on then. Okay, so the whole idea of this, okay, Bewa Samson, please go ahead. Please unmute.
Hi, good evening.
Yes, go ahead. Good
Yeah,
evening.
okay. So, prior to my um, meeting, I had already started mutual funds, and but then while I was at this, it then opened me up to looking through treasury bills and also bonds.
Okay.
So at this point, I also got some bonds from the March offer, and I think also the April offer. FGN savings bond. Also, treasury bills had started already. I was with Stanbic IBTC mutual fund already. And I think going forward, I'm looking through the avenue of REITs. So that's my next agenda. And I think it's been going well so far.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. I like to see people who take action. Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, so please let's go straight into what I have today. So I'm going to touch a little bit on money, the illusion of money. Then we'll talk on the evolution of money. This is where we'll talk about cryptocurrencies. And then I'll talk about the future of money and where we're headed post 2025. Okay, so really, money is an illusion. I know maybe not many people here will believe it, but it's true. Okay, it's a social construct. We on this call and the people of the world actually decide what money is. Okay, at some point, people were bartering, they were giving chickens for milk, etc., right? And then some people came together and said, okay, well, we're going to start using cowries, right? And then that's how it became money. Everybody agreed that they would exchange cowries for things. Then at a different point, people said, well, there's this shiny thing called gold. Let's use it for money, right? And they started exchanging it for money. And then a time came where people were like, it's too cumbersome to be dragging gold around everywhere. Why don't we put the gold somewhere and then issue paper backed by this gold? So we know that this gold is seated somewhere, and then we're going to issue this paper, and everybody agreed that, okay, I think this is the way to go. And people started using paper money. Then a time came where people were like, paper is not very, very universal, as it were. I want to be able to travel. I want to do things. And then plastic money came. We started having cards and digits in the computer. And when we say, oh, I have X amount of money, 10,000, it's just some digits in the computer. And then your card, you will swipe it and the person will accept it. And then there'll be a transfer from your account to the person's account. And now we're at the turn of, money again. Money is turning into something else. And this is the turn of crypto. And a lot of people are still behind. They're still stuck with electronic money or plastic money, right? They have not taken that leap to join the crypto crowd. But I can assure you that in the next 2 or 3 years, everything is actually going to be cryptographic. So it's either going to be cryptocurrencies or CBDCs. CBDCs simply means central bank digital currencies. So cryptocurrency is issued, right, by regular people, businesses, people with certain ideologies, while CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, are going to be issued by government. So today we have what we call private money and government money. Okay. I don't know if we're all aware that banks actually issue money, right? When you go to the bank to get a loan, it is the bank that is actually issuing that money. So they have a requirement to have a 10% of whatever money they issue seated in their accounts. So that's what is called fractional reserve banking. So if a bank has 10 naira, they have the mandate to issue 100 naira out in loans, so long as they have 10 naira in reserves. So banks actually issue money. Then the Central Bank of Nigeria also issues money. They print notes, right? And they also issue that money to banks. So that's just money in a nutshell. We have actually evolved and we are still evolving. And what we're going to be talking about today is really where we're headed with regards to the next frontier of money, which is cryptocurrencies. Okay? And then just to touch on what is on the last part of the slide, which is tokenized real world assets. Everything that you know today, be it real estate, be it art, anything of value is eventually going to be put on what is called the blockchain. So that value will be tokenized and you will get a token that represents that value on the blockchain. And you're going to be able to literally buy and sell and trade that value from one point of the globe to another point of the globe. Okay? So this is just me trying to like break the ice on money. We're going to delve into cryptocurrencies, but I just thought it would be nice to just talk about money generally before we make that step into cryptocurrencies. All right. Okay, so there are two Ponzi schemes. One is the legitimate Ponzi scheme I'm going to discuss right now, and then we'll talk about the regular Ponzi schemes that we see all the time. Okay, so for me, this is me saying this now. Okay, the greatest Ponzi scheme is actually what is called the debt cycle, the debt-based monetary system. And this is the system that everybody in the world functions under, whether you like it or not. It has nothing to do with you. You were born into this system, and it's actually a Ponzi scheme. So let me explain what I mean by that. Okay, so every nation has a government, right? And so this is what you see here. You have the legislature, executive, and the judiciary, every nation on earth. Now, for this government to function, they have to get money, right? And the only way government takes money or makes money is by taxes and then selling off assets that they own in that nation. So for example, Nigeria, we have oil, so we sell oil, right? We take taxes. People that want to do business with us, they pay custom duties and all the different fees you pay to government. That is how government generates revenue, right? And then, of course, for them to function, they have to spend. But always, it has always been the case that government always spends more than they earn. They always spend more than they earn. And so that brings up the issue of a deficit. Every year, if you ever follow government, whether it's America, Nigeria, any nation on the earth, they will have to present a budget at the beginning of every year. And then, or a beginning of every fiscal year. But you will always realize something, that the money that they have or they expect to earn is always less than what they want to spend. And so that way, they have to borrow. It is natural for governments to borrow. Okay, so there's always what you call a deficit. And then how do they borrow this money? They go to their treasury department and tell them, look, we need to raise money. And so the treasury department will issue what you call bonds, right? This is like government paper saying, look, we want to borrow money to do our projects and all the things that the politicians want to do. And we will pay you back this money. And they're talking to the banks now. So they're talking to the CBN. For America, is the Federal Reserve. And this Federal Reserve in America is actually a group of private banks that own the Federal Reserve. So these are individuals, big individuals that own this bank, right? And the government goes to them and says, look, we need to borrow money. You guys have money. Give us money and we will pay you guys later the interest plus the capital. And they issue them bonds, right? So treasury bills, all the things we've been talking about. And then guess what? These banks now sell the treasury bills to commercial banks for a little premium, right? Maybe primary issue and all of that. And then the commercial banks will now say, okay, we have to sell this to other institutions. So you see other institutions buying these bonds. And then they'll tell them there's a percentage. I think right now we are between 18 and 19% for those who have been buying bonds, right? And guess what? They will now issue it to the secondary market. This is where me and you exist. We will now buy these bonds or these treasury bills or these notes from the government. Okay? And guess what? Some of us are not even taking that opportunity to buy these bonds. Rather, we are going to the bank to borrow money. Now, we're down here somewhere. A lot of us borrow this money for our projects, and then we go and work. day and night just to pay back this money. Some of us work, or some people have worked to the day they died. They didn't stop working just to pay back. You see that they are paying back a car loan or house loan, mortgage, or something that they borrowed from the bank. And then guess what? The government will also take out of that your paycheck taxes. Some people pay as high as 22%, 23%. In some other climates, they pay as high as 50 something percent. So look at this. Why I call it a Ponzi? You are working all your life and you are paying 50% in very toxic economies to your government. And the government is going to collect all that tax, spend it, and still tell you next year that they don't have enough money and that they have to borrow again. And guess what? The cycle continues. So who are the losers in this cycle? It is the people who are not financially savvy. All they do is they go to work and then they get money, they pay their taxes, and then they keep going round and round the same circle. It never ends. But there are some people that are cleaning out here. These are the owners of the banks because they're the ones who are lending money to the government, and those people or the government is going to be paying them back with interest. And so for some of us who have learned from the financial market masterclass how to get involved, just like the bankers are doing, you are now actually lending money to the government and getting paid interest. So can you see the Ponzi in this thing? There are some people that are going to be perpetual losers, people who don't have any financial literacy, who will continue working and paying taxes and borrowing instead of lending money to the banks or lending money to the government or lending money to corporates so that they can earn an interest. They would rather borrow money to buy cars and phones and different things and end up paying back that money with a lot of interest. And so they will go to their graves without any money. Okay, so that's the biggest Ponzi scheme ever, in my opinion. All right. And then we have another set of Ponzi schemes, especially in the crypto sphere. One of the biggest ones we've seen so far in Nigeria is CBEX. I don't know how many of us, by show of hands, were involved in CBEX. I heard a lot of people were crying a few weeks ago about CBEX. They put in so much money. I think I heard at some point somebody said you put in $50, you get $150 by week 2 or something like that. So that's one of the big Ponzi schemes. There are always going to be these things all over the place, and they always prey on people who don't have information. Get rich quick schemes, and a lot of people, which is the masses, fall for these sort of things and find out at the end of the day that somebody has taken their money and run away. Okay, even in not just Nigeria, outside of the country, there was a collapse of FTX. FTX happened because some very smart guys were double dipping. So they had a company, they created a token for that company. They bought a lot of things. They pumped up, they hyped up their token. The token price went up. And then they used the so-called value of that token to secure some other assets. So by the time people found out that this token is just a play on hype and they started dumping that token, guess what? Both sides collapsed at the same time. And that's what you find with the FTX. The guy actually was sentenced to a very long time in jail. Okay, similar thing happened with Luna. Luna, this one wasn't really a scam to begin with, but some people said, well, we're going to use cryptography to stabilize currencies, and they were paying ridiculous yields on their stable coins until one day the market turned against them, and in less than 24 hours, a coin that was over $200 went to zero, and a lot of people lost a lot of money. Okay, and then recently, this year, I think the biggest crypto hack happened, which is one cryptocurrency called Bybit was hacked by North Koreans hackers, and they stole some money from, not some money, a lot of money. It was the biggest hack ever. I think just under $1 billion or slightly above $1 billion was stolen. Okay. And then You also have market cycle crashes. Celsius was a candidate for that one. What happened was they decided to behave like a bank. So they were telling people, bring your crypto if you have crypto, put it in our bank. We'll be giving you percentages every month for just holding or staking with us. It was doing well. And after a while, because everything happens in cycles in cryptocurrencies, so we have what we call the 4-year cycle in cryptocurrency. Unfortunately, during the dip in the 4-year cycle, Celsius went under and a lot of people lost a lot of money. And then, of course, there are different multi-level marketing pyramid schemes that come up year in, year out in cryptocurrency. And you find that people would, of course, bring more people. Once you bring more people, you will get some profit and all of that. And they'll be gathering people until somebody will decide that I'm not doing again. And then by the time the domino effects happen, you find out that the pyramid scheme can no longer sustain itself and it breaks down. So you can see that crypto is kind of like the wild, wild west. And so it takes you being very knowledgeable about cryptocurrencies for you to actually make money in cryptocurrencies. And you cannot just gamble. At least I don't teach that people should gamble with their hard-earned money by jumping into crypto without knowing anything about cryptocurrencies. Okay, so what I'm trying to do today is to bring a level of awareness so that people who want to get into cryptocurrencies can do that without having their heart in their mouth at every given point or sleeping with one eye open, as we say in our local parlance. Okay, so this is just a bit about crypto Ponzi's, hacks, and scams that have happened in the industry. There are many more that have. I just chose these 6 to highlight that these things are possible in crypto, and so we shouldn't shy away from them. Rather, we should know that they exist and how can we ensure that we don't become victims of these sort of things. Okay, and that can only be done by the amount of knowledge you have about cryptocurrencies. So let's move on. Okay, so I'm going to touch on the industrial revolutions we've had. Okay, the first there are 5 currently. I don't know how many of us are aware there are 5 industrial revolutions. We are currently on the 5th industrial revolution. The first one was the steam engines. Okay, people realized that they could, heat up water, and that can power vehicles and trains and different things. And that was how commerce really started. Major commerce started. And then the second industrial revolution was when people discovered oil and they could now manufacture and turn steels and combustion engines. And then the assembly line happened. Okay, Ford and his assembly line. Oh, please confirm you can still hear me.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
We can
great.
hear you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yeah,
We can hear you.
Yes, I
all right,
can
thanks.
hear you.
Okay, so the third industrial
Yay.
revolution was the advent of the internet and computers. And so you now saw things moving online. Commerce was moving online. People were doing business cross-continent just by logging onto a system and communicating. Okay, that was the third industrial revolution. The fourth industrial revolution was the advent of AI, big data, robotics, Internet of Things, and blockchain, which is where and what we're talking about today, cryptocurrency. And a lot of people are still stuck in the third industrial revolution. All they know is they want to buy something from Amazon, they bring out their debit card or their credit card, and then they punch in the figures, and then they pay for it, and that's it. But we have gone beyond that. We're in the fourth, even about to enter the fifth industrial revolution. This is where we are no longer just looking at transactions based on credit cards, but we're looking at things like augmented reality, additive manufacturing, cryptocurrencies, and blockchain, because they make these payments faster, more efficient, traceable, trackable, and they make digital life happen better. So you hear about things like the metaverse. People are buying things in the metaverse. People are paying for things in the metaverse. That can only be done with things like blockchain and cryptocurrency, because the old legacy systems are still on a T+2, T+2 or T+5. And what that means is that if you make a transaction cross-border, right? You're in Nigeria, you want to pay for something in China. With the current system in the third industrial revolution, you have to wait for extra 3 days or 5 days. The bankers on the call can tell you before that money will clear and before it will be settled on the other end. That is very slow. And so for things in the metaverse, things in the economy that we're entering into now, nobody has that time to waiting for 2 days or 3 days or 5 days to settle a transaction. They want it instantaneously. And the technology now exists to have that done, which is blockchain technology. Some blockchains are as fast as 3 seconds. Some are as fast as maybe 2 minutes. So you can imagine comparing 2 minutes and 3 seconds or 4 seconds with 5 day settlement. Of course, any businessman will tell you they will prefer the 2 seconds transaction time settlement. And so that is where we're headed right now. And so it's very important that you pick up and shake off the third industrial revolution mindset and begin to enter into the fourth industrial revolution. Then finally, we have the fifth industrial revolution, which talks about connectivity, where humans and machine begin to work together. And for all of us, of the people on this call that know anything about AI and AI agents, you can now see that there are agents that are doing the work of human beings and actually doing it way better than human beings. A lot of us don't like to think about it, but it is the truth. It's coming. And very soon, you're going to be seeing humanoid robots actually doing tasks and getting paid for it. And guess how they're going to get paid? They're going to get paid with cryptocurrency. Nobody's going to be bringing Naira notes to go and give a robot. The robots are all going to be connected on the blockchain, and they will be paid for whatever activities they do. Drones will deliver things and get paid. And so the people that own those drones or those humanoid robots are the ones that are actually going to get money. So they'll be at home or wherever. And because they have these assets working on their behalf, those assets will be collecting money for them in crypto or CBDCs. And that's how they're going to be earning money. So the earlier we retool and reframe our minds to begin to shift into the fourth and fifth industrial revolutions, we are going to position ourselves for greater prosperity as we do that. All right. I hope I'm not too fast. I'm just trying to lay the groundwork before we get into it. Okay. So we've talked about 5 industrial revolutions. Now, there's something called the trifecta of economy. Okay? The economic trifecta. That is goods, data, and money. And for the first time, we're about to see all 3 of them converge. So the first one was international network of goods. In those days, people would just commission a ship. They will go to India, get spices, whatever it is, and then they'll bring it back. And then people will now sell and make money, right? So a time came, actually sometime in 1968, where the standards organization, they call them ISO standards, decided that we can make this trade standardized such that it becomes efficient. So they came up with what is called the shipping container in 1968. So that at every port, there will be standardized equipment that can lift off these shipping containers, and they can be interchangeable. So whether you're in China, Nigeria, America, everywhere, there's a standard 40-foot container, 20-foot container, and all the equipment that will be used to move those things are standardized as well, so that vessels can turn around quickly and leave the port very quickly and go to different places and still be able to offload and load. Okay? So when that happened, global trade exploded from about $60 billion per annum to about $19 trillion in 2022, just because of that standardization of shipping containers. because it now became interoperable. So mark that word, interoperable is very important. So the next thing was data. For those of us that are old enough to know when internet came up in 1999 and people were all excited about their Hotmail accounts and Gmail accounts, you could only be on one network per time. So there was AOL, American Online, there was CompuServe, there was Netscape, and so on and so forth. Netscape people could not talk to AOL people. CompuServe people could not talk to, you have to be on the same network, right? And so people now decided that no, these networks have to talk to each other. So they came up with a standard called TCP/IP and HTTP, which is what we all know today. And so I could send something from Gmail to Yahoo and vice versa and all the other different Outlook because we used a standard format. Okay, when that happened, this is called the International Network of Data. So the first one we talked about was Network of Goods, right? This was in 1983 onwards. That's when this standard organization started working on this. But when it was all said and done, e-commerce now, commerce was no longer, oh, you come to my dock and you trade and then I pay you. No. Now you could do commerce online. So it became e-commerce. E-commerce grew from about 10 billion to about 18 trillion in 2024, just on the basis of standardization of data. So you could transmit data and one system could understand data that's coming from another system. And that way, commerce was flowing very well. So guess what? Like I told you a few slides back, that money is a problem right now. We are still stuck in the past with money. If I am on PayPal, for example, I cannot pay money to somebody on Paga, for example. So people in Nigeria know Paga or I can't, maybe Momo credit or something. You can't transfer money from PayPal to that, or maybe Venmo to another thing. Everything is still siloed and it's a problem. And that is what is causing this settlement time of 2 days, 5 days to settle. So what is happening now is that the same standard organization have come together and said that by 2025, which is why this year is pivotal to understand cryptocurrency and blockchain. By 2025, all financial institutions must migrate to what is called ISO 222. Those in the banks might know of this already. And that means it's a standardized format of transmitting financial information so that anybody anywhere that is transmitting financial information must use that standard. And that will make settlement times be reduced significantly and would also improve trade. Okay, so we're getting into what is called the Internet of Trust and Internet of Value. So no longer will we be talking about it took 5 days for money to clear. It will be seconds now because a lot of people in the world, Swift, all the big, I'll show you the graph very soon, all the big companies in the world are actually mandated by law to comply by November 2025 to this ISO standard. So you can imagine what that is going to do for commerce. If you saw what it did for the goods, the network of data, now guess what it's going to do for the network of money? It's going to bring an explosion in value transferred and the amount of business that can be done globally. Okay? So what has also been happening globally? We have seen that in 2008, there was a market crash, right? And people were like, look, government is bailing out these big boys that actually crash the market and the poor people are suffering. And that's where cryptocurrencies were born. People were like, no longer are we going to wait for government to just waste our money, like I explained in the Great Ponzi. And then when things go bad, they will bail the bankers that caused the crash. And then the people on Main Street will be left alone to cater for themselves. And so that's how cryptocurrencies were born. So it was something that happened on the fringe. And then guess what? We have gotten into the point to the point where now countries are being banned, right? You saw what happened when Russia invaded Ukraine. They seized 300 and something or $400 billion of Russia's money that was stuck outside of Russia. So countries are saying if they can do this to Russia, that means they can seize my own reserves. And that's not acceptable. One or two people cannot dictate to the world how things are done. Of course, we all were part of COVID-19. We saw how the whole economy was shut down for 2 good years. And guess what? They printed a quarter of all the dollars in circulation during COVID. So people are now asking, if they can print this kind of money and share the money, why are we working and paying taxes? Why can't they just keep printing money? And of course, what happened during COVID, people didn't realize the effect is going to come later. And that's what we're experiencing now. Because of so much money in the supply, we have what we call inflation now, rampant inflation, global inflation. Everybody's crying. Nigeria, everybody, you can see the countries here. This is Turkey's inflation rate is 50%. And you can see all the other countries as well. UK, Russia, Sweden. Everybody is feeling the effect of what happened during COVID now because of the money supply has increased significantly. And there are fewer goods being pursued by this amount of money in the system. And so it leads to inflation. So the next thing we're going to talk about is BRICS. So a group of people came together and said, you know what, this America dollar hegemony is becoming too much. They can ban you, they can cut you off the SWIFT system, they can sanction you anytime they like. We're not going to do that anymore. Let's form an alliance. So Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa were the original people that formed the BRICS coalition. And then now a lot more other countries have joined. Saudi, Egypt, Iran, all these people that are saying, you know what, enough of this American dominance. We're going to form another block, trading block, and we can do business by ourselves. In fact, we make up over 42% of global trade. So why are we bowing down to one country? So you can see that is going on. And then guess what? Now we have trade wars going on. Trump has said, basically, sorry, just 1 minute. Sorry about that. So trade wars are happening. Trump, of course, in his rash style, slammed everybody. And you can see what's happening between China and America. Trump went to 85, went to 125. China went up just like that. I don't know where they are now, but it's going up. And you can see what is also causing in terms of the market. In 2 days, once this Trump and this tariff war started, you had $7 trillion wiped off the stock market in 2 days. Of course, it picked back up again, but you can see there's a lot of apprehension in the market because of what is going on. So you can see now that trust is being broken and there's a revolt in the world. It's no longer business as usual. So the question now you should be asking is, so what is going to be coming next? Okay? And the answer really is cryptocurrencies. Why? Cryptocurrencies are irreversible. They're fast, like I mentioned. They're based on blockchain. They're permissionless, right? There's no banking authority in the middle that can confiscate your money. And then there's payment freedom and there's security and control. So a good example is I was traveling, I think it was last year. And if you go to the airports, maybe you're traveling out of the country, they'll ask you, are you carrying any foreign currency? Of course, you have to carry foreign currency, but there's a limit. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's like $10,000, right? So I told them, yes, I'm carrying the maximum 10,000. So are you sure? I say, yes. And then they let me through. But what they didn't know is that on my phone, I have my crypto wallet, and I had a lot more than $10,000 on it. And I can travel anywhere. You can even travel with $1 million if you want, and go somewhere and transfer your money and change it and do whatever you want. So that's the beauty of cryptocurrency. You cannot censor cryptocurrency. Okay? Meanwhile, they can tell you cannot carry more than $10,000. Meanwhile, you're carrying over 800,000 or even $1 million with cryptocurrency. And that's where the world is going. Okay, so what happened in history was that when Bitcoin was first created in 2009, sorry, Facebook decided to form an organization called the Libra organization. And they got these 30 companies to join forces with them to create a currency called Libra. And that was the tipping point. When government saw that these people are going to get rid of them, because imagine if everybody on Facebook now decides, I told you money is a social construct, now decide that we're going to be trading with Libra. All our currencies become useless because Facebook is actually the biggest country in the world. It has over 2 point something billion or 3 point something billion people, active users. Facebook owns WhatsApp. Facebook owns Instagram. Imagine if they now say, don't pay with dollars or don't pay with Naira or whatever it is again. We are only accepting Libra. Libra now becomes the biggest currency in the whole world. And the government said no. And so they shut it down. And that was how this idea of central bank digital currency started popping up everywhere. And as we speak now, 98% of all governments are at one phase or the other in the development of their central bank digital currency. Nigeria was, I think, the second country to launch theirs, even though it hasn't really taken off, the e-Naira. China has the yuan, and that is working very well. There are other countries in the Bahamas and many others that are coming on stream as we speak with their own central bank digital currency. So you can see how things are moving from paper and they're now entering cryptocurrencies and also central bank digital currencies. Okay, I used to take a lot of time in my classes to deal with this, but we're going to move fast. I hope people are following. Let me pause again to find out. Are we following? Just show of hands, please. Maybe a thumbs up if you're following the conversation so far. Okay, I'm seeing a few. Great. So, all right. So how many people are lost?
I'm lost. I just logged in back. The network is bad. I even had to come outside the house.
Okay. So that's why you're lost. Not because you don't understand what I'm saying. Okay, how many people are lost because they don't understand what I'm saying? All right. Silence means consent. That means everybody understands. Okay, thank you. Let me progress. We're going somewhere, please. I'm trying to show us how we are progressing, okay? So with every new innovation, that is what is called the hype cycle, okay? There's always those who are called innovators. Those are people that as soon as something comes out, they are the first people to jump on it, okay? They are the big risk takers. They jump on it. Imagine people that bought Bitcoin when it was like 50 cents. It just came out. They started buying Bitcoin, 50 cents they were buying. These are the people they call the innovators. They are the ones that have very high expectation. And then the thing will pump. And then they will get to this point where there's like, it's so inflated. And then it begins to drop. Then people here up now saying, hey, Shebi, I told you it was a scam. Oh, don't mind them. And then guess what? The early adopters come in. So they have done some more research. They didn't just jump on it. And then they're now seeing that, this thing has some merit. I think I need to do more study on this. You call those people the early adopters. And then there's a chasm. This chasm is like very difficult to cross because it takes a lot of conviction and convincing to get people to leave and enter the technology. And this happens with every technology, no matter what it is. Right now, people are talking about AI. People are very skeptical. People are not doing anything. There are some people who have entered already. They're already making money in AI. Now, there's this chasm. Don't worry, to not reach Africa. It's only in America and all these places that they'll be losing jobs. Here, we still have analog type of things. When will they bring robots that will take over? You know, that kind of mentality. And then guess what? You will now get to the point where it starts coming mainstream. And that's how crypto was. I remember when we entered, I'll share my story. I bought my first Bitcoin at $300. So you can imagine people that bought at 50 cents. They were looking at me as olden days person. Something that has moved from 50 cents to $300 is now you're entering. So I was considered the early adopter, right? And then it now moved to the point where there was an early majority. You see people now, it now becomes mainstream. People are talking about it. You see people on the street saying, make I buy, make I buy. They start jumping in and all of that. And then guess what? You will now see the late majority and the laggards. These are the people, when the thing has stabilized very well, it's not making that much money again. That's when they will now be comfortable enough to enter. Okay, right now, we are somewhere here. Okay, we are the early adopters phase. A lot of people in the world, maybe about 20% of the world is actually clued up on cryptocurrencies. The rest are still very skeptical. They don't think it's something that they need to get into. They are not quite sure. They've heard so many things, so they're just watching. Let's watch, So we are here at the early adopters phase. And so it is people that get in at this point that actually ride it up to this peak here before it starts stabilizing and then flattening out. Then it will just be like any other investment vehicle. Yeah, you might make 20%, 30% per annum, and you'll be fine with that. But right now is where, if you know what you're doing, you're going to be making significant returns. And I have made significant returns in cryptocurrencies. There was a time I actually made 100 times my money in cryptocurrencies in 1 year. That's when I realized that, actually, Bible is true. When they say somebody sold in 1 year and he made 100 times, 100-fold, I made 100-fold in cryptocurrencies like few years ago. And I've made 10 times, 20 times, as the case may be. Okay? So you only make that kind of money as an early adopter. When you enter the early majority and the late majority, that is when this field, as it were, or that technology has become mature. And so the big boys, the big institutions come in and they don't like volatility a lot. Okay, so they want it to be stable and so that they can just have predictable returns based on the volume of cash they put into it. So they don't want it to be jumping up and down. Okay, so this is where the real wealth transfer happens in any technology. Okay, imagine people that bought Google stock or Amazon stock in 1999, 2000, early 2000s. They're the ones that cleaned out. If you are buying Google now, maybe you might make 10%, 20%. You'll be clapping for yourself that you bought Google stock. But people that cleaned out are the people that entered when search engine first came out, and then the thing stock rose from maybe like 3 or 4 or 5, I can't remember what it was, $15, all the way to maybe like 400, So, but now it's just going up small, come down small, and people are happy with their blue chip stock. Meanwhile, they are only making money in a very mature market. All right, so I think I've explained that a bit. So the evolution of blockchain, like I mentioned, we started off with peer-to-peer transfer. We now entered the era where people started talking about smart contracts. Some of these terms, you might not really understand them, but please take notes so that you can go and start asking AI. AI is your best teacher. Oh, what a smart contract is to tell you everything about smart contracts. Okay, then people started hearing about NFTs, cartoons, different things that they were doing on blockchain, art. And then in 2021, the metaverse became big. So right now in 2025, the big thing is tokenization. And we're going to talk about it as we progress. So you can see the different phases in which cryptocurrency has taken over the years. And nothing is stagnant. Everything is always evolving and moving. And that's why you must keep abreast if you're interested in cryptocurrency to know what is in, what is new, and what is next, what is coming next. Okay? So that's that for this slide. Like I mentioned, 2014 was the year of ideation. A lot of ideas were dropping for cryptocurrencies. Before you know it, they have released one coin for this. Different ideas all over the place. 2015 2016 was where they started testing out the technology, proving the concept. 2017, 2018, partnerships started happening. Big investment houses, venture capitalists started coming into the field. You know, before it was just computer geeks that were playing with cryptocurrencies. Now, big venture firms, Andreessen Horowitz, Union Ventures, they started backing some good crypto technologies and getting stake in those companies. That's in 2017, 2018. And then by 2020, crypto had gone mainstream. You now see banks talking about cryptocurrencies, how they want to change their infrastructure. And that's where I talked about ISO 222 that is coming into effect this year. So the big banks are saying, we can use this technology to streamline our operations. All this work that we're giving our back-end staff to settle transactions after 2 days, maybe we can, latch onto this new technology and reduce clearing and settlement time to mere seconds. So they started investing in the technology. And guess what? Like I said, in 2025, it's going to be mainstream adoption and maturity because these ISO standards are now mandated by law. So it's no longer a game where it's just like, okay, me, I'll do it. If people don't like to do it, it's fine. Now it is mandatory that all financial institutions globally must adhere to the ISO 222 standard for financial messaging as well as settlement. So you can see that it's going to be a massive shift going forward. Okay. So again, this is where I pause and to say that for you to actually be in cryptocurrency, you must have an investor's mindset. And what is it? You have to be knowledgeable. You have to read up. You have to learn. You have to follow the right people on social media, YouTube, Twitter, that know about these things and where the technology is going. You have to be diligent. You have to be passionate. You have to be interested, okay, to do the work. And then, of course, realize that if the big institutions like banks are coming in, you can just begin to imagine the amount of volume that is going to come, institutional money that is going to come. Once people like pension funds start allocating even 1%, 2% to cryptocurrencies, that is going to move the market significantly because those pension funds, for example, they hold money in the trillions of dollars. So even if they just allocate 1% to crypto, and guess what? Crypto now is becoming a hedge against fiat currencies that are being inflated to oblivion because of the recklessness of the governments that are issuing them. And you can see now with the tariff and the trade wars, nothing is certain. So wouldn't you rather be in at least a portion of your money to hedge in a cryptocurrency that is fixed? There cannot be anything more than 21 million Bitcoins in the world. And that's why you keep seeing the Bitcoin price rise because some people have died and forgotten their Bitcoin. Some people did not pass it on. Some of them, you sent it to the wrong address, it's lost. So even that 21 million is just the maximum. Right now, people are saying that circulating, maybe it's about 18 million Bitcoin. So that means every millionaire in the world cannot even own one Bitcoin. Just think about that. There are how many millionaires? There are thousands of millionaires in the world, right? And if you say that every millionaire should own one Bitcoin, it's not possible because some people already own like 200,000 Bitcoin. So where are they going to get it from? So you can see that scarcity is actually baked into the technology. And so people are using it as a hedge against the fiat currencies that are inflating like no man's business. Okay, so this is just telling you the kind of markets that are coming. Okay, non-financial corporate and sovereign debt is about 187 trillion. All of this is going to be put on blockchain. It's going to be tokenized because governments are now thinking about ways to sell their debt to many people, not just the people in their countries. So if you go to a website called RWA, realworldasset.xyz, you will see the amount of tokenized products. So US has treasuries, other countries have their treasury bills tokenized already. Me and you in Nigeria, we can buy those treasury bills now and get a yield. A lot of people are not aware, but you can do that right now. So governments are looking beyond their borders, right, to see how they can get money. Because like I said in the beginning, government will always keep issuing debt. That's how they survive. They will issue debt instruments so that they can finance their operations. Okay? The next thing you see is real estate. Real estate is like 20 trillion that is going to be tokenized, the estimate by 2030. Private equity, 7 trillion. Securities, bonds, stocks, all those kind of things, 42 trillion. And then trade finance. This is another huge one that I know people are not talking about. So, people that do bill of lading, trade between, maybe you're buying something from here in China. When the thing arrives, then you pay. All those kind of things. They're going to tokenize them so that you can see them on the blockchain and actually pay when goods are delivered on time. So that kind of business now, the opportunity is like $12 trillion. So you can see that we're not talking billions again, we're talking in the trillions. So it's very important that somebody's, please, Ini, help me with the person as, please kindly mute if you come in. All right, all right, I think I muted the person. Okay, so, and then I also mentioned that CBDCs are coming, right? These are central bank digital currencies. Just imagine how much money, right, each government has on their balance sheet, and they want to now tokenize it in form of central bank digital currencies. So these can flow across border. Very soon, all the days of give me a bookie number, let me call a bookie for dollar, those days are going to be gone in the next 2 or 3 years. Okay, because every country would have their own central bank digital currency. It's just a matter of, I have my phone where my e-naira is. I want dollar. I go to the market and I just click how much dollar I want, and I will transfer my e-naira, and dollar will appear. E-dollar, whatever they want to call their own, will appear in my wallet. So you can see that cryptocurrency and CBDCs are going to disintermediate, which is take away the middleman. It's going to take away all these things that we do with black market and all of that going forward. All right. I've spoken a lot too. So these are just use cases. I'm not going to dwell on this. It's all over: insurance, government, border control, healthcare. Every facet of the economy is going to be touched by blockchain, because one of the good things about blockchain is that it gives you an immutable record of transactions. This ledger is tamper-proof. So land registry, for example, once it has been put on the blockchain, nobody can go and change it. And if it's sold to another person, it will reflect on the blockchain when it was sold, who it was sold to. All those things will be on the blockchain. So just imagine how transparent it will be. I don't know, maybe Nigeria might not like it, since we like wuru. They won't like to be on the blockchain yet. So maybe we might not join on time. But this is where the world is going. Everything is actually going to be on blockchain. Transparency, you can see what happened, when it happened, and where your current property is going to be. So it touches all facets: energy, taxation, enterprise, music, tourism, security. Everything is on the blockchain going forward. Okay? So I'm going to skip this. We've talked about this before. This is the future of crypto economy. And then, like I always say, or even any financial teacher will tell you, when you're entering any market, please follow the money. Listen to the people that have money and what they're saying about that market. Okay, so the guy you see here is called Larry Fink. He's the manager, or the chairman and CEO of the biggest asset management company in the world, called BlackRock. BlackRock have over 10 or 11 trillion dollars as assets under management. Okay, so this is what he said: my opinion 5 years ago was wrong. I believe Bitcoin is legitimate. This was what he said recently on Yahoo Finance. He has actually launched the Bitcoin ETF under BlackRock. It has been the best ETF in terms of performance, full stop, in the world. Okay. Then this man here is called Jamie Dimon. Yeah, he's the CEO of JP Morgan, the biggest bank in America. Initially, he said Bitcoin was a scam. Okay? So people are now saying that first they ignore you, then they ridicule you, then they attack you. Then after that, after all of that, they start buying Bitcoin. JP Morgan is one of the biggest users of blockchain technology right now. They even have their own coin out called JPM coin because they settle transactions of $10 trillion every year, every day, not every year, every day. That's how much they hate to, because they're the biggest bank in America. So they have seen that blockchain is the only way for them to be efficient at doing it. And so now they're fully on board. Then you have people like Bill Gates. He was like, oh, Bitcoin was exciting. It shows how cheap it can be. Bitcoin is better than fiat currency in that you don't have to be physically in the same place. And of course, for large transactions, you're better off using Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. So literally, these men who are controllers of wealth are now telling you that we have understood the technology now. Initially, we were thinking it was a scam, but we understand the technology and the infrastructure, and we know how it is going to revolutionize our business. Okay, so this is Fink again, Larry Fink. He says he wants all assets from stocks to bonds to real estate and more to be tradable online on a blockchain. He says this concept, tokenization, would revolutionize financial ownership and investing. This was, I think that was last year or early this year that he said this. So you can imagine every stock, every bond will be tokenized. And I, sitting in Nigeria here, can buy any stock in the world because all I need is access to those tokens. And it will be recorded on blockchain that I, Swanu, I own this amount of X stock, that stock. And if I sell it, it will be very transparent how that stock moved from one place to the other. And that's where the world is going to. Okay? So going into tokenization now, which is the next frontier, like I've said, what are the key things people can get involved in now? First thing is stable coins. So I don't go about looking for dollar. People are saying, hey, convert your naira to dollar, convert. Yeah, you can do that. But I can sit in my house now and buy stable coins. Stable coins are dollar equivalent. They are pegged to the dollar. So you have Theta for people who are already in the crypto space. This coin here is USDT. I can buy now as I'm speaking, as I'm talking to you right now. I can buy it here. I don't need any bookie. I can buy it now. This other one is USDC. It's another token. So if you want to just hedge your Naira, you can do that immediately. I'll share with you the platforms where you can do that. Okay. So these are all different types of stable coins that you can buy. You can buy Euro stable coins. You can buy dollar stable coins. You can buy yen stable coins. Even now, I think Dubai, they're coming up with their own digital AED currency right now. So any currency that you fancy, you can actually buy the stable coin right now from your phone as I speak to you now. Okay. And then the next thing people are doing that is big is tokenization of art. So the wealthy people in the world, they own three things: land, art, and gold. Before, when there's war or whatever, they will just wrap up their art in fireproof container and take it and run. Now, what is happening is that because some of these artworks are so expensive, some of them are in the millions of dollars, the owners of the art have actually tokenized the
Oh,
art,
continue my class. See me.
have actually tokenized the art, and they are now selling fractions of the art to people globally. So you can actually buy, if, for example, the Mona Lisa goes on sale, right? Maybe one of these auction houses like Christie's of London or whatever gets an art and they want to tokenize it. If it's like $10 million for the artwork, they will break it into pieces, yeah, tokenize it, and you can buy 0.0001% of that art. And as the art appreciates in value, the value of your token appreciates. And because art is actually very illiquid. So imagine if I own a Rembrandt, for example. To sell that Rembrandt is not a small deal. You must look for an auctioneer. They must verify the artwork, and then they'll call for an auction. The process is long to liquidate. But with tokenization now, once those people have tokenized it, if I decide I wake up, I had a bad dream, I want to sell it now, I will just click sell, and the equivalent of my percentage of that art will reflect in my wallet immediately. So that just shows you the speed of how you can now make markets that are liquid to become liquid. And so it is now the craze for people who are interested in things like art. Okay. Then for people who are interested in property, this one you can go and check it immediately. It's called Propi. Yeah, Propi, they have their own token. They list real estate all over the world. So you can buy from your house now. You can buy a fraction of real estate in America, anywhere. Just go on their website. You will see all sorts. And then all you just need to do is use your Naira, purchase one of these stable coins, USDT or USDC, and then you're in the market. You can start buying property if you want. And you don't have to buy whole property, just like we learned during the real estate masterclass, that you can actually buy fractional, be a fractional owner of property. I think we shared some of the websites that you could do that in Nigeria. Piggyvest is one we shared, and then there are a few others. I can't remember the names now for Nigeria, but Property is one for global, right? And they use cryptocurrencies there to buy properties. So you can see now that tokenization is actually real and it's happening. Then you can also buy commodities, okay? I have bought gold, tokenized gold. Now, this gold actually sits in Dubai, right? You will see it is verified and all of that. There are processes to check verification of this gold. All you need to do is buy the quantity that you can afford, okay? And that quantity, if you open your wallet, it will be tracking the price of gold. And now that the markets have been going up and down, yeah, if you have been following gold prices, I don't know if how many of us are traders here. Gold prices have been rising steadily because of the turmoil in the market. And so if, for example, now, instead of me to go and buy a bar of gold or gold chain or gold earring, right? And I buy tokenized gold. If I want to liquidate right now, maybe if something came up, I need cash or dollars or whatever, I can liquidate that gold by 12 midnight today and get the equivalent amount of dollars or stable coins in my wallet, and then I can decide what I want to do with my money. Okay, so that's where the world is going. So right now, as I'm talking to you, all these are available. You can do them. Okay, tokenized commodities, real estate, art, stable coins. And then now, tokenized treasuries. Like I mentioned earlier on, there's a website called RWA, take it down, rwa.xyz. If you go there, you will see tokenized treasuries by different people. These are all the people that are tokenizing treasuries. Most of them, they're actually US treasuries. So if you have been buying Nigerian treasuries and you want to venture into maybe US treasuries and all of that, this is the website to go to. Of course, they will tell you what is available and how to go about buying those treasuries, and you see them. But bear in mind, some of those treasuries will require you to be what's it called? You must have done AML, so anti-money laundering, and know your KYC, know your customer. So there are some hoops you might have to jump, just like anything. And then once you have done that AML and KYC, then you are now allowed to buy as much treasuries as you want. Okay. Let me look at time. Oh, okay. I'm still good for time. Right. So we're getting closer to the meat or towards the end of this conversation. Now, I've been in the market since 2017, so I've seen all sorts happen. I have taken massive hits. I remember, like I told you, there's a time I made 100 times my money, but I've also lost quite a bit of money as well in the market. Yeah. So I've seen both sides. Now, from my own experience, I want to share and tell you that there are two things, major things. Benjamin, you're eating alone. All right, sorry. So there are memes and what you call utility tokens. Okay? I've been burnt with memes, and for a lot of us on this call who have maybe dabbled in cryptocurrency, they'll be telling you to buy memes. Please don't put your hard-earned money in memes. You can throw maybe $10, $20, maybe gamble money. You can put it in memes. It can go up, might come down, whatever. But please don't put your hard-earned money in memes. I'm telling you. You see this chart here? This is Terra. Terra was, oh, this is even a very recent chart. Terra was at $200 at one point. Look at where Terra is today, 16 cents. Imagine something that was at $200 is at 16 cents. God help you if you bought at $200. Your money has gone. You can see the drop, 99.14% drop. That's what happens when you put your money in meme coins. Okay, Telcoin is another one. Luckily, I actually bought Telcoin around this point here. Yeah, but I was not patient enough. By the time it pumped to this point, I sold and came out. The thing did like how many X afterwards? But see what happened afterwards. It just crashed. So people will tell you, oh, it goes up. But how many of you can actually time the market? That means you're not going to be doing anything. All you'll be doing is you're watching charts, which is not possible. Most of us have jobs. We're doing other things. So for me, being 2017 to now is how many years? About 8 years. I've done this for like 8 years. I'm telling you for a fact that meme coins is the fastest way to lose your money. If you're going to invest or gamble, fact, no, don't invest, you are gambling. If you're going to gamble in meme coins, maybe just put money you're willing to lose in it. Okay? How do you know a meme coin? It's always a fad, a hype it up, heavy influencer marketing, outrageous and substantiated claims. You will check the team. You won't see anybody. You will just see cartoon characters as the team. No serious investors or advisors. Please run away from meme coins. I'm telling you for a fact. Okay? Now, for those of you that see cryptocurrency as an investment vehicle, please go for utility. Utility means there has to be a use case that this particular crypto company or cryptocurrency is working on. And you will see things like they are following regulation. You'll be tracking them on their social media, on their website, on their YouTube channels. What are they doing? Is there a clear case of disintermediation? I will show you some coins that I have and coins that I'm planning to buy because I'm still doing more research on. Okay? The product is live. They must have a live product that is working. And then you will check their backers. On their page, you will see the people that have backed them in terms of venture backing. So VCs, venture capital companies that have actually backed them. Okay? So those are like the green flags, as it were, for you to now begin to take a coin seriously. One coin that I missed out on is BNB. I remember when I saw this coin, it was like 15 cents. Look at it today. It's $590. Crazy. Just imagine that kind of gain, right? Look at where it started. And it kept going up. Because cryptocurrencies are volatile, you can see the drops. They are sharp. But because they have fundamentals, right fundamentals, there's a use case and all of that, eventually they will continue going up. So you can see the trajectory of these kind of coins. So 2 websites you must, if you're going to be in cryptocurrency, is coinmarketcap.com. Please take that down. Well, this is going to be on YouTube anyway, so you can always rewind it. CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko. These websites show you all the cryptocurrencies in existence, and they will tell you the track record of each of the coins. Once you click on each coin, they will tell you where you can buy them, the markets, and all sorts about the coin. So if you want to do research, you have to know these 2 websites, CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko. Okay? So just to recap, please, 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 except you want to gamble, stay away from meme coins. Look for utility coins. And by utility, look at the things I mentioned here. They must have a clear use case. They must be following regulation. They must be registered. You must know the team and the qualifications of each of the team members. Those things must be clear on their website and any of their publications. There must be a clear case of disintermediation. What problem are they solving? Which middleman are they taking out of the system? What are they doing that is going to make that industry more effective? Right? It must be clear. And then, do they have a live product that is working? Are there serious backers or investors or advisors for that project? Dig deep, understand their track record. Do as much research before you drop $1 or £1 of your money inside of any of these currencies. I can't overemphasize research. Please, please don't take anybody's word for it. Do the research and own it. Okay? So this is my approach. Having been in the market for over 8 years, I'm tired of meme coins. I not do again. What I now do is I dollar cost average. Okay. And this is a technique. It's not just in crypto. People use it when they're buying stocks, when they're buying other things, the dollar cost average. What does it mean? It just means that instead of putting all my money in at once, let's say I had $6,000 to invest, right? Instead of just dumping it today, $6,000, I'll buy some today, watch the market. If the market drops, I buy a bit more. If the market drops further, I buy a bit more. If it goes up, I buy. So you can have it at intervals, maybe every month, every two weeks, every 3 days, whatever your interval is. But dollar cost average, so that overall, you will see that the amount of money. So look at this example here. If you had bought $6,000 at once, yeah, you would have only gotten 600 shares at a fixed price of like $10 each. But because you were dollar cost averaging, you were buying at different intervals and at different points when the market was moving, you see that you now picked up 678 shares at an average price of 8.85 each. So that's the beauty of dollar cost averaging. You spread your risk and hopefully you even out your buy price. Okay, so that's one of the strategies I use to enter into the cryptocurrency market. Now, I'm going to talk about the Trump effect. Okay, before Trump came into office, crypto was touch and go because the Democrats were not particularly crypto friendly. And so there was a lot of issues. There were court cases and all of that. As soon as Trump came in, everything changed. They've thrown out all the court cases against crypto companies. Trump has said he wants to make America the #1 crypto country in the world. So you can see everybody saying Bitcoin is a scam. Bitcoin is a scam. Look at America owns 213,000 Bitcoin. China owns 190. This is government. I'm not saying the people in China. This is the government of China. They own 190,000 Bitcoin. The UK owns 61,000 Bitcoin. Germany, etc., etc. El Salvador, 5,751, and so on and so forth, right? Of course, you can't see Nigeria here. They will never be there. They are stealing Ghana must go money and putting it sock away. So you will never see them here. Donald Trump said this on Twitter. He says, US is going to have what is called a crypto reserve. Okay? And he has written that and signed off that executive order. And going forward, in that crypto strategic reserve, he named the coins that are going to be there. Guess what happened to those coins? Those coins are going to pop, right? XRP, I hold some of them. Solana and Cardano. And then he said, obviously, we're going to have Bitcoin and Ethereum. So without being told, you don't need a magician or a prophet to tell you. If America is going to hold these coins, these are some coins that you need to start thinking about. Okay? And then he said he wants to make America great, that all cryptocurrencies that are built in America will be exempt from taxes. Did you get that? So guess what? People that want to...
Please repeat, sir.
All cryptocurrencies that are based in America or founded in America, he's going to exempt them from specific taxes. So guess people that want to I don't want to call it evade taxes now. There's another word. Lawyers, people tell me what it is. Guess what they're going to be packing their money in? Because if you don't have taxes on those coins, and the American government is actually going to be holding these in their strategic reserve. Look at the American coins here. XRP, Solana, USDC, ADA, Doge, HBAR, Link, Stellar, AVAX, SUI, LTC, and BCH. These are American coins. So you can see what's going to happen to these coins very soon. Okay? So these are giving you ideas of the kind of things you should be researching and looking at, investing in. Okay? So just on this slide alone, you can see that at least there are 6 coins here that you should consider owning. XRP, Solana, Cardano, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. Because if the American government is having a strategic reserve about this, guess what is going to happen with other countries? Nobody wants to carry last. There will now be a race to pick up these currencies. And this is the only time in the history of the world where they are openly telling you what they are doing. Normally, they won't say this thing. They'll just be doing it quietly. Okay? So that's that on the Trump effect. Because of the way he behaves, he tweets everything, he talks about everything, So these are things one person you should be following on Twitter is Trump, because he'll be giving you clues of what is coming. Okay? So like I said, this is the spreadsheet or the slide that was talking about compliance. You can see these are SWIFT. Anybody that knows anything about banking knows that SWIFT is like one of the biggest financial institutions when it comes to moving money. This is their compliance timetable for ISO 2022. ISO 2000 or 222, sorry.
Okay. Please, somebody is writing on the screen and we can't really see the thing very well.
I don't know who's doing it. I don't know why anybody is doing anything. I don't know whether they are part of the presentation. Just keep your mouse to yourself and just allow me present, please. Okay? So SWIFT is telling us that by 2025, everybody should be complied. They should have complied with these ISO standards. Target 2 is for the whole of Europe. UK left the Europe, so they have their RTGS. You can see everybody is finishing at 2025. This is Russia. This is Fedwire, the US. This is BAT. I think this is Thailand. This one is Malaysia. Chat is Hong Kong. I think this is the Philippines. And then this is Singapore. All of them are finishing. They must comply at 2025. So this is a pivotal year for cryptocurrency. And this is a year where you need to start taking position in cryptocurrency. Okay, so this is my focus for my own investment thesis. Okay, I'm only focused on, so cryptocurrencies, by the time you look at that website I told you, CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko, you will see different categories of cryptocurrencies, different ones. The ones I have chosen to focus on are cross-border payments, cryptocurrencies that deal with interoperability, cryptocurrencies that are regulatory compliant, and then cryptocurrencies that are targeting problems in a multi-trillion-dollar market. Those are the only cryptocurrencies I focus on. There are over, I don't know, maybe like 20,000 cryptocurrencies. You can't track everyone. So you must understand your own field, your preference, what you're passionate about, what gives you joy, so that you can always keep researching it. For me, these are the things that interest me. Okay? And so those are the kind of coins I follow. And those are the kind of coins I buy. All right. So what's the paradigm shift? For me, this is the biggest slide, or the most important slide. If you can get this slide, you will understand the importance of cryptocurrency. Okay, the biggest shift, think about the rail track, okay, is a paradigm shift. Now, for those of us who ride trains, or maybe when you go abroad, you jump on trains, you just see that they are efficient and that's it. You get from one place, A to B, and most people don't think much about it afterwards. But this is what is happening in the background. There are some people that laid these tracks. There are companies that own all the tracks you see across the continent of Europe, for example. There are companies that own the tracks. They're called infrastructure owners, right? Then the next set of people are people that own the trains. So it's not the same people that own the tracks that own the trains. Yeah? Now, these other people are called the operators. Then guess what? You now have the passengers. And this is where 90% of the population are. All they are interested in, oh, does my train come on time? Oh, how much is it? Do I have the amount of money to pay for my train fare? That's all they are bothered with. Guess the people that make all the money. The people that make all the money are people that own the infrastructure because they determine what the freight price is. They determine what the operators pay for using their tracks, right? And guess who eventually pays for everything? The passengers. They take your money and the operators will collect their own and then they will pass it on to the infrastructure owners. And these people are the people that have generational wealth. Their children don't have to do anything because so long as those train tracks are there and so long as people will need to travel in this world, guess what? They will keep getting money. And before now, this has been the preserve of the ultra-rich and the elite of society. Like I said, 90% of every other person is in this category waiting for their train to get on their train. That's all they're interested in. So let me bring it now back to what we're talking about. There was a revolution. The first revolution that we all hopefully got to know about was the telecoms revolution. The infrastructure owners are the Glows, the MTNs, the Airtels, and the 9mobiles of this world. They are Denugas of this world. They own the infrastructure. The operators are the Infinix, Samsung, I don't know whichever phone people are using, iPhone and all of that. And guess what? The passengers, the people that are pressing phone or social media 24 hours, arguing nonsense arguments, those are the ones that are buying data every day and enriching these people, right? And instead of buying stock in these companies, they are busy buying data, insulting each other on the call, making crazy calls. Instead of buying into the phone makers like Samsung stock or whatever, they are busy showing off how they have the iPhone 16 Pro Max or whatever it is now. You spend 2 million naira to buy a phone. Imagine if you spend 2 million naira to buy Apple stock. Where do you think you'll be in the next 5 years? So there's this mindset that we need to shift, and that's why I call it the paradigm shift, that you must now begin to play where these people are, or else you will always be stuck pressing phone here. Okay? So that's what happened in telecom. So maybe it's a bit too late for that, right? Because Adenuga and Co, they still own the company. Maybe you can buy their share. I don't know whether you can even buy Glow. Is it listed? I'm not even sure it's listed. Maybe MTN is listed. You can buy some MTN, but how much can you really buy, really? But it's still better than just paying for data, right? Then the next wave came, Web 2. So this was Web 1, as it were, voice. Web 2 was now voice and data. The Facebooks of this world, the Apples, the Amazons, the Netflix, and the Googles of this world came along. They were the infrastructure owners. They owned the networks. Instead of us to invest in this, we're going to App Store, downloading all downloadable apps. Some people were there creating apps. All we're doing, we're using apps. We're pressing phone again, right? Now, even the people in the App Store, if you notice, I don't know if you know about Apple, I think they take 60% of any revenue that comes in the App Store. If you create an app, Apple will take 60%, something like that, of your revenue because they are the infrastructure owners. So let us shift our mindset from being these people here that are always pressing phone to the people that are buying the infrastructure, owning the infrastructure, owning the apps, right? So you might have missed wave 1, which was telecoms. Wave 2 was data and network providers. Where we are now is wave 3, and it's called Web 3. This is where cryptocurrency is coming, okay? And I'm going to share now, if you have this concept, please show of hands if you understand this concept now. The concept of infrastructure owners owners of the trains or the operators and passengers. All right, I see some hands up. Fantastic. Okay, so please rewire your mind now to not just be a passenger, because passengers, all they do is they argue on social media, nothing. They'll be buying data and be arguing. Okay, so this is Web3, and I'm giving you my playbook because I'm a good man, right? Like I told you, I showed you my criteria. These are the things I'm interested in. They meet all my criteria. And I have some of these currencies and they're doing pretty well. And this is still a good time to buy if you want to. Flare, for example, they are looking at AI, smart contracts capability, and interoperability. Please do your research on Flare. Very important. Ondo Finance, these people are talking about bridging traditional finance with blockchain by tokenizing real-world assets. You see that guy that I told you about, Larry Fink? He's partnering with Ondo Finance to bring a lot of the kind of things he's interested in to come on chain. Ondo is doing very well. Okay, it's still very cheap. You can start looking at it. Do your research, please, before you buy. Ripple, this is like the first cryptocurrency I ever bought, and it has done wonders for me. I still hold it, and I'm looking to maybe add to my portfolio. It's doing really well. These ones, they are going to stop what is called nostro vostro in banks. Anybody that's a banker here understands it. Nostro vostro means, you remember there was a time where they told us in Nigeria now that you cannot spend more than, I don't know what that was, $10 at one point on your GT card, for example, because they didn't have enough money abroad to settle that transaction. Because what happens is every bank has to have money packed all over the world, in UK, in Europe, in China, so that in case their customers, their clients want to spend maybe on Amazon, they have money there to settle your transaction. So because the dollar and the naira issue was going on, they didn't have enough liquidity to have money packed all over the world. So that's why they reduced the amount of money you can spend. That's what happened. So what Ripple is doing is saying, look, you're going to use a bridge currency. You don't need to pack money all over the world. So what they're going to do is they're going to end up freeing up over $18 trillion of money just sitting idle all over the world, because some bank is anticipating that I'm going to spend money and they will need to settle. So with their new technology, which is a bridge token or currency, all you need to do is say what you want to buy, and they will use that bridge currency to settle for you in 3 seconds. So you don't need to pack money all over the world again. So you can imagine the headache they are solving for these banks. So that's what Ripple does, okay? There's Chainlink, Oracles. Zinfin is about trade finance. Story is one new one that has just come up now. This is, they're trying to tokenize intellectual property. So I'm an author now. I can put my intellectual property on the blockchain, and then I can sell my book rights, right? Now, if it's a popular book, for example, let's even use somebody that's popular, like this lady that wrote what do you call her now? This wizard books that are very popular. What do you call her? What's her name? Anyhow, Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
Thank you, Harry Potter. Harry Potter, her IP is in the multi-millions of dollars, right? She can now decide that, okay, I'm going to put my rights on the blockchain, tokenize it, so that as you people buy, I need money now. She needs money now. She wants to cash out. So these her royalties will run to her grandchildren, her great-grandchildren, and all of that. She's saying, I want to tokenize my royalties, future earnings, and I'm going to sell a portion of it now. Maybe I want to sell 50% of my future earnings. So people will buy those tokens now. And every year, when they pay out her royalties, they will pay you a fraction because you have invested in her royalties. It's just that you gave her money upfront. And then you can now be earning in perpetuity. I don't know if you understand it. Yeah. So that's what artists and creative types now are going to be doing on the blockchain. They're going to be putting their music catalog. Maybe Jay-Z, for example, can decide, you know what, I want to cash out before I die. Let me take like 30% and enjoy myself, leave 70 for my family. So out of that 30% of his entire catalog, he'll put it on blockchain, tokenize it, and all you Jay-Z fans will buy, right? And as his streams are coming in from Spotify and all of that, they'll be sending it to you because you are now the owner, a part owner of his royalties. Does that make sense? So Story is doing a great job with that. It's new. I'm looking at it. I'm considering it. I'm looking at the market. I'm going to buy that. Then, like I said, tokenized gold is there. This one is something that everybody should consider because gold is one way to hedge against currency. Okay. Plume is another network. This one I just discovered it 2 weeks ago. So I'm studying it. Something I'm going to look at. This one is also real world asset tokenization. They're doing really well. They meet all the criteria of the things I talked about in the previous slide. And then my number one is Quant. I've been singing about this Quant. I'll tell you why in a minute. But for me, these, how many are they? These are like 9. Of course, there are many more. Like I said, there are over 20,000 cryptos. And based on your own criteria and what interests you, you should do your research and pick which sector to focus on because you can't focus on everything. Pick what to focus on, do the research, and then start dollar cost averaging. By all means, avoid meme coins. I'm telling you for free, you're going to lose a lot of money if you chase meme coins. Okay, so let's go back to the Bitcoin. For those people that were skeptical about Bitcoin, this is just the full chart of Bitcoin from 2010 when it started. Bitcoin started at 0, right? It went up to $16, came back down to $3. People say, hey, scam, scam, scam. It went to $1,133, came back down to $230. I bought my first Bitcoin here, 2017, 2018, about $350. I kept buying Bitcoin. I bought quite a bit. And guess what? Bitcoin went up to 15,000, almost $20,000. I sold quite a lot of my Bitcoin. In fact, I maxed out. One day, it just entered my head. I just stole I went to a car stand and picked up a brand new Benz that day. That was the good old days, right? I built my house, did a lot of things with Bitcoin. It was fantastic. And then I started trading, doing other things. Guess what? Bitcoin went from there to 60,000. Eh? Now, this year or late last year, it went to 100,000. Bitcoin is still going. Now it is out of reach for a lot of people. I don't know how many people on this call can own one Bitcoin, can decide this night they want to buy one Bitcoin and go and drop $83,000. I don't know how many people on that call. At least I know I can't do it. But there was a time where I had over 40 Bitcoins. Do the maths. At $100,000, that would have been like 400. No, so that would have been $4 million right now. Do that in Naira. That would be like some billions, right? In Naira. That's crazy. So you can see what time. This is just over like how many years, right? So please, this is not something to sleep on. Don't be listening to people that don't know anything about cryptocurrency. You need to do your research. This for me is what is called wealth transfer. This is wealth transfer. If you pick the right currencies, do your research, dollar cost average, and keep being diligent at buying, trust me, in no time, you'll be out completely, out of this rat race we're talking about. And for me, like I said, in my values, one of the things is to redeem time so that I can focus on doing the most important thing for me, which is what I was put on this planet to do. And one of the ways I think you can do this is when you now start becoming an investor, an early stage investor in these new technologies, because the growth potential is so huge that if you get it right, you literally free yourself from this rat race that everybody's, doing. Okay. So this is just the Bitcoin story. Now, this is return. Please Google it yourself if you don't believe me. This is return over the last 10 years. Okay. Tesla, if you bought Tesla 10 years ago, you would have made 12,000%. If you bought Amazon 10 years ago and you held it, you would have made 1,000% returns. If you had bought Google, 700%. S&P, that is, you bought the S&P 500, you'd have made 277%. If you had bought Microsoft, you'd have made 1,000%. If you had bought Apple, you'd have made 736%. If you had bought Just Gold, you'd have made 9%. If you had bought Bitcoin 10 years ago, you'd have made 569,000%. That's crazy. So when I talk to my investor friends and they're telling me, come and buy land, come and buy land, yeah, you make money. I'm not saying you don't make money. Of course, I believe in land. I have one or two. I'm not a big real estate person, I'm sorry to say, because I have tasted crypto. You can't untaste it. So for me, when I think about money I'm going to put in one land that will maybe double, I'm not saying put all your money in crypto. Of course, I have investments. I do mutual funds. I do other things as well. But to be honest, a great percent of my money is actually in cryptocurrencies because I understand it. And I'll tell you why. Okay? So the $1 million question now is, what is the next Bitcoin? I was very scared to put this slide in here, but I said that I will feel guilty if I don't share this. And that's why I'll normally put this in my own paid class. But I said, no, I don't want anybody to come and talk to me about cryptocurrency again. I'll just send you this video. Go and watch it. If anything you get out of it, get out of it. So what do I think? And this is me now, please. Disclaimer. I am not a soothsayer. I am just saying from the research that I have done and from the trajectory of what I'm seeing, there's a coin I love now. And I want everybody on this call to do yourself a favor and go and research this coin. Please research this coin. And for anything, let's say you have a spare 100K that you will not miss even if it gets lost, just buy one. Just one. I'm not saying buy plenty, just buy one and keep it. Because the way I look at this coin, I look at this coin as though I was buying Bitcoin in the early days. That's how I see this coin. So enough of me selling what it is. This is the coin here. It's called QNT. Right? It has the right tokenomics. Bitcoin only has about 21 million. This one only has 14 million of the coins. Then the use cases or the use case is fantastic. There's so many partnerships. It ticks all my boxes in terms of what I look out for in a potential good project. Don't worry. Somebody's saying by tomorrow QNT go pump. All right. But the truth is, please do some research on this. Pray about it and take a decision either way. But don't just ignore it. That's all I'm saying. Okay? Let me not belabor the point, but I think you guys get the message. Okay, so going back, we're coming to the end. There are 3 different mindsets that you should have if you want to get into cryptocurrencies. There's the trader mindset, there's the investor mindset, and then there's something you need to rewire your head on, crypto volatility. For the trader mindset, you must be disciplined. You must keep a trading log. You must research, and keep learning. You must learn how to handle your emotions, or else you're not going to make it as a trader. And then you have to accept uncertainty, because this is a very new asset class and the market is actually quite volatile, like I said. When the big boys actually come in, they will stabilize the market, and then you will not be seeing those big jumps again. That means you will not be making those kind of crazy profits, but also you will not be making those kind of crazy losses as well. Okay? Sorry, let me charge my phone. My laptop. Okay. Then the next thing is the investor mindset. For this one, you have to think about fundamentals. I am predominantly an investor. I don't like trading. I don't have the temperament for a trader. It's too chaotic for me. I like to look at things from mid to long-term horizon, okay? I look at the fundamentals. I look at the long-term view. I am self-motivated. I don't need anybody to motivate me. I'm doing the research myself. I love doing the research, okay? I have that emotional balance. The highest loss I've made is like $700,000 and I didn't die. If I didn't die then, I'm not going to die now. I've also made quite a bit of money as well, right? So you must have that emotional balance for you to be in cryptocurrency. There's also this dichotomy between greed and contentment. You must have a way of balancing out. Okay, if you don't have that way of balancing it out, you're going to go to one extreme. And then also get understanding. It's very important. You're very limited. You have things like AI now. You have people that are specialists in particular things. Please stop watching Nigerian movie all the time. Follow some people on Instagram, follow some people on YouTube, on Rumble that are focused on these things. They will go do the research and teach you. That's what I spend most of my time doing, learning from, especially these particular currencies that I've chosen to research, right? I'm going to learn from the people that are at the forefront of those things every day. They say if you spend an hour learning every day on one topic, you're going to be like an expert in maybe like, a few months. You're going to be the expert on that topic. So you see that quant I'm talking about, there's nothing. In fact, I'm going to write a book on quant by the end of this year because of how much research I've done on quant. So literally, that's the amount of energy you should be putting into the projects you want to invest in. Don't go and listen to somebody like me now and say, the guy said quant, okay, make I go throw my whole salary inside. No, don't do that. You have to own what you're doing. I'm only just sharing. And this is my perspective. And this is of somebody that has lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. So if your liver never reached like that, please do your research well before you even venture to put $1,000 inside. Because no stories that touch. You call me, I'll just say, hey, yeah, sorry, you try again. That's the end. So you have to be the master of your own fate, especially when you want to come into cryptocurrencies. And then you know that the risk you're taking, you have calculated it, you have hedged yourself, and then you also have other assets. That's why we're doing multiple streams of income. I didn't say I don't have real estate too. I have real estate. I have mutual funds. Those ones. My children's school fees is not inside crypto. It's not there at all. My wife's money is not there. My home money is not there. And the one I'm putting inside crypto are my own future money. That's what I put. So don't come and tell me, I put my house rent, I thought it's in that coin to come up. You're on your own. You will live under the bridge. I won't even lend you money. I don't even have money to lend you. So the point I'm making, and I'm trying to sound this, it sounds like a joke. Please don't go and put your life savings in cryptocurrencies. It is a wrong move, especially if you're learning, especially if you're just getting into it. Take a portion. For those who will follow my courses, we have a way of doing our 20% rule for those who know. Yeah? Take a portion, test the waters, follow the right thing, do your research first. When you have gotten that level of confidence, then you can now dollar cost average into it. Very, very important. Okay. And then finally, crypto volatility. There are massive swings in the market. Some days the market can move 80%. Some days the market can go down 90%. I'll tell a very quick story. I was leaving work to my house one day. I got into a trade and I was Rome Massey. I used to live at Waterlines area. So I drove from Rumasi. I was just getting to the bridge. This Air Force, not Air Force, what's it called? The Army Bori Camp. Just climbing up that bridge. A friend of mine called me, hey, guy, you enter that trade, Abby? I said, yes. He said, please come out. I was on the steering. I can't come out of the trade. I have to get home. By the time I got home, which is like in another 10, 15 minutes, I lost like almost 20 million naira on that trade. Now, somebody will just panic. Hey, God, village people or something. Just remain cool. I just left it. The next day, the trade had come back. Now, some people cannot sleep that whole night. So you have to check your own threshold. What can you afford to play with? and what can you not afford to play with. Don't go and test yourself on area. You just get a heart attack for no reason. So like I said, start small, begin to build your confidence, get the right material. Then when you are there, take a portion. In fact, if you have 100 naira, please start with 2 naira. Don't go and start with 10 or 20. Start with 2 naira if all you have is 100. And then test the market, understand what you're doing. And then as your confidence grows, then you can now start to increase your stakes in this thing. Okay? So I think we're almost there. Knowledge is power and learning is your superpower. Okay? What you can see in the middle is what I've spent. It has cost me a lot. This one, I paid $2,800 to learn crypto. Yes, I have made more than what I paid. When I was paying it, it was not easy just to learn. And I learned from this guy. To me, this guy is a guru. Crypto Crew University. I think Victor Jaja is on this call. Victor, are you there? Victor?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm
Oh,
here, and I can
fantastic.
confirm.
Oh, you can
I can
confirm.
confirm
So Victor took my course, and then I encouraged him to
Yeah.
pay for this course. He paid for it. So Victor, maybe you can share your testimonial on this course quickly.
Yeah, for me, I think it's a fantastic course. The guy takes you from the basics, yeah, and gives you all you really need to go into that market and be confident of what you're doing in that market. Yeah. So for me, it was a fantastic one. And the funds I paid for the fees, for me, I've recovered more than 10 times of it. So it's insignificant.
And you didn't drop prophecy though. You just recover. You didn't do anything. Well done. All right. So, and then for those who are interested in becoming traders, so for me, if you want to be an investor in cryptocurrency, this is the course to do, Crypto Crew University. If you want to be a trader, so daily trading kind of thing, the Market Sniper is amazing. So what I did was I contacted the guy, I think he's called Francis Hunt, something like that, right? I contacted him from his YouTube channel, and then he booked a 5 or 10 minute one-on-one with me, video call, Zoom. And so by the time he talked to me one-on-one, he asked me some questions, and then he told me that, no, you're not going to make a good trader. So that way, I didn't pay any money. He already discussed with me because he's that much of an expert. And he just advised me that I should not waste my money, that I will not make a good trader, that I'm more of a long-term person. So I need to focus more on picking up investment skills and all of that. So for those of you who want to, and he trades crypto, forex, all sorts, stocks. So if you really want to be a trader, please look for this guy on YouTube, follow him. He has some really good free material. Then when you convince yourself that maybe he's the kind of person you need to learn from, then you can pay for his course and all of that. Okay? Okay, somebody's asking what's the difference. So I said for a trader, you're short term. Some traders trade daily. Some traders even trade hourly. Some traders trade time frames, right? But for me, because I do other things, like now I'm in the middle of writing a book. And sometimes when you're writing, you're locked in. You don't have time to do any other thing. So I can't be a trader. I have a job. I have some other businesses I run. I have a community that I run, right? So I can't be a trader, but I'm a long-term investor. So I'm looking, my timeline and my horizon is like 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, right? So imagine if you had a Bitcoin 10-year horizon. Me that was buying car, buying Benz, doing this, doing that. I'd have just chilled. Then I was young, right? Maybe 10 years ago. My mind has changed. By now, I'd have been balling. I'd have been a billionaire in Naira, multi-billionaire. I'll just be playing. But because I didn't have that kind of mindset then, and where I am today, and I'm happy for it because I learned a lot along the way, and I've made a lot, I lost a lot, but it's great, all good. But with the knowledge I have now, I can now reposition for the next 10 years. Okay, so does that answer that question? I hope it does. All right, so this is the nitty-gritty. Where can you start buying and selling and trading cryptocurrencies? Binance, even though Nigeria is very funny with Binance, so maybe not. But Quidax is good. I have a Binance account. Quidax is, this one is, I think the SEC has greenlighted this one in Nigeria. So Quidax is good. You can just download it and follow their steps. Yellow Card is another one you can buy direct. Once you just do their NIN, BVN, and all those things, you can transfer money to this account and buy your cryptocurrency immediately. Okay, Coinbase is another international one to look at, but these two are for Nigeria. Then there are wallets. I have all these wallets. These are all software wallets you can download on your phone. Please make sure you download the right one. Exodus, Decent, Trust, Kobo Wallet. I use these three. Then I also have these two hardware wallets. Hardware wallets are where you keep your long-term cryptocurrencies. Yeah. They are offline so that nobody can hack it. Yeah. So you just transfer your currency from your soft wallet to your hard wallet. Because just imagine you have a wallet that you put in your pocket and go out every day. That's your soft wallet. Then if you have a safe in your house, that's your hard wallet. It doesn't go out with you. You just keep your long-term holdings in your soft. So I have these two. This is a Decent wallet, and then this is a Ledger wallet. I have both of them. So if you're serious in crypto, at some point you might need to buy some of these wallets. Okay. So my process, like I said, for Quidax, you can register on either Quidax or Yellow Card immediately this night. I like things that you can do now. You can download the apps, transfer. Once you do your KYC and all the other things that they need you, NIN and all those things, you can transfer straight to that platform, and then immediately you buy your stable coin, either USDC or USDT. You can even buy the cryptocurrency you want on their platform. It's just that they don't have a lot of different currencies. Okay, so things like XRP and all the other ones I mentioned, they're there. ADA, all those ones that Trump said they're going to have in their strategic reserve. I think they have them on these apps. Okay, you can buy them if you're interested. Okay, like I said, dollar cost average. Of course, keep watering your seed. And by this is you need to do more research, find out what's happening in the market. Of course, for those of you who are prayerful, pray about your seed. And then have an exit plan, right? Some people want to hold for 2 years because they have a project they want to do. Some people want to hold for 5 years. Some people want to hold for 10 years. Depends on you. Everybody's different. Have an exit plan. When are you going to sell? If it hits what price? What price are you going to sell? Those are the things you need to think about. Okay? And then, of course, you have to be consistent. And you have to be faithful with the studies, with the knowledge, and taking action. All right. So this is just Quidax. No need for all of this drama. Just download the app. It's very easy to follow. Once you download the app, you just pay. Yeah. So I use this for one of my classes, but it's very easy to follow. In fact, you can even go on YouTube and ask for Quidax videos on how to install the app, all those things. They're all there on YouTube. Okay. So it's actually been a very long session. Look at the time now. This is like 2 hours. I'm surprised that everybody's still on the call. So we've come to the end of the session. Thank you for your attention. This is time for question and answers. So if there are any questions, please just put it in the chat. Let's read it out and answer the questions. So once again, thank you.
Several.
All right. Are there any questions?
There's a question. Good evening. There's a question on the group by Faith Abraham. She said, please, what's the guy's name on YouTube?
Which guy now? We talked about many people. Which guy?
I don't know. She can confirm. Then
I think
there's
it's Market Sniper.
Okay. I think it's Francis Hunt. Hunt.
Then did you see? I don't know if you caught Ebuka's question already.
No, I didn't. Oh. Please help me, please.
Okay. Is there any coin that can do more X as Bitcoin? Is it still possible or Bitcoin is an outlier?
Outlier. I don't think so. So it's kind of like saying, because I don't know who was first. Microsoft was first. So is there that company that can do like Microsoft? Sure, you guys have seen Google. You have seen Tesla. You have seen NVIDIA. NVIDIA last year, did you see what NVIDIA did? So that's how it is in the market. You can't say, oh, because Bitcoin did this, no other coin can do it again. No, it depends on the fundamentals of those projects. And that's why I'm a believer, right? Maybe not everybody is as optimistic as I am, but I've seen this happen in Web 1, Web 2. This is Web 3 now. See, history repeats itself. So I don't believe that, oh, no coin will do what Bitcoin did. I don't believe that. I believe if you're diligent enough and you can find it, you will see something that will just wow you beyond even what Bitcoin did. And Bitcoin probably did it in 10 years. This one will even do it in 2 or 3 years. That's what I believe. Yeah. But then again, I'm an optimist. All right.
Okay,
Any
there's a
other question?
question from Nonso.
Yeah, go ahead.
If there's a 4 year cycle for crashes to happen in crypto, how do we stay safe?
Okay, so like I said, it just depends on your time horizon, right? So one of the things I do is that when I pick a coin, I also look at technical analysis, even though it's not my strong point. But there are people who are amazing at it, and they give these their ideas for free. They don't even charge you for it. I just follow those accounts. So you begin to listen to them and understand where we are on the 4 year cycle and all of that. And then based on the analysis, you can now start making inferences and taking a decision on whether you should be in or you should be out of the market, right? But personally, if you ask me, I think the 4 year cycle thing is actually going to really come to an end very soon. Why? Because in the past, they were following those cycles because the market was heavily or it was not regulated. Now, the market is becoming heavily regulated. The big players are coming in. There's a lot of stability coming. And then, like I said, this ISO 222 is coming into effect. And that's going to have a big impact. It will distort the typical 4 year cycle. So a lot of coins are actually going to fade away to nothing because all those ones that are not regulated, that have not followed due process, they'll just be like meme coins. The ones that are followed due process and regulated, those are the ones that this institutional money is going to come into. And trust me, institutional money is not coming for 4 year cycle. They want to dominate the market. So I feel and I think there's going to be a new burst and a breaking of the pattern of that 4 year cycle. Maybe other coins might follow the 4 year cycle, but the kind of coins I'm looking at, they are coins that institutions are coming into. And I don't see institution doing 4 year cycle. They want to make money. And so they're going to ensure that that market is stabilized very quickly. But because we now, for the first time, retail are front running the institutions. Normally it's the other way. Institutions get in, then retail come later. But this is the first time, and that's why it's called wealth transfer. This is the first time that retail is entering the market first before institutions are coming in. So you can imagine the tsunami that is going to come in when big money comes into the market and you're already positioned. So that's the mindset I have about it. I don't know if that answers your question. Any other questions?
What academy is for crypto investor?
Academy. So the Crypto Crew
Mm,
University is the one for crypto, strictly for crypto. It teaches you how to trade and also how to invest.
Okay, somebody is asking about Black Swan.
Okay, the Black Swan. What are they asking?
You didn't talk about Black Swan, coach. That's
Oh, oh, okay. Yeah. So Black Swan is a coded is a coded group. It's not for this is for the crowd. So I don't talk about Black Swan and crowd here. It's for a coded group. I hope that
Hey, okay, it's called.
yeah, so
There's
it's called.
another question.
Yes.
It's from Grace. She said she was wondering if crypto is going to be the next vehicle of transactions.
Yeah.
Why sell it? Why have an exit plan? Is it possible to just leave it there and take it out in bits when necessary?
No, of course. So imagine the guys that bought Bitcoin early. Now they're just selling 0.001 now to flex. They don't need to sell everything. Me, I was selling one Bitcoin to go and buy Benz and I was feeling good with myself. Now, some people they just sell 0.05. They go and buy whatever car they want. So the longer you hold these currencies, the more leverage you have, especially if you pick the right ones. and then you can now spend it as you want, not necessarily that you spend everything. So it just depends. At that point, I was young and wild. Nah, I don't get small sense.
Well done. Victor gave a testimony. Said thank you, coach. I got involved with digital assets in 2022 post your coachings, and it has been immensely expository and rewarding for me. So
You see
that's a
this? You see this
testimony.
English now? I just need
No
transfer.
money or just English.
English. Thank you, Victor. Well done.
Anita said, Coach, I have been using Lono for a while. Is that a good platform to keep trading? My experience using it has been seamless for years.
So fantastic. I used to use Luno before, but after a while, I kind of like moved on. But if it's still working, then it's great. Yeah.
Okay. What frameworks do you personally use to identify undervalued coins?
So, like I said, first of all, I only just look at coins within my area of interest, right? Then I now start doing the research. There's no shortcut. You need to do the research. There's no shortcut. I won't lie to you.
Okay. What is the cost for your paid training, master class, and mentoring?
I have stopped. I'm not doing it again. I don't have time. I need to focus. I have many other things I'm doing right now. And that's why I put in as much as I did on this normally some of this material I put in my paid course, but I've given you guys pretty much 70 to 80% of what is in my paid course anyway. So for the foreseeable future, I'm not going to be doing any paid course. So I have other things I need to focus on.
Got it. Then YouTube page is Dominion Coach.
Yes.
Okay. Can a novice like me thrive in crypto investment?
I don't know. Only you know. It's down to your
Yeah.
commitment level and what you want to get out of it. So I can't tell you whether you can thrive or not. It's up to you. Can you guys still hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah, we
okay.
can hear.
Okay.
EYWA concept. What's your take on that?
EYWA. I don't know what that is though.
Ewa,
Okay.
sir. Ewa.
Yeah, what is that about?
It's a consensus bridge that, like you have Solana and others that are individual layer one blockchain. This
Yes.
one comes with a model to synergize and run transaction with them in respect to CBDC. It has its own coin with the little research I've done, and then it's been powered by DGU, a venture capitalist organization from Europe.
Okay. So I've never heard of it. And I don't claim to know about, like I told you, I'm very narrow in terms of what I'm looking at. So some of those things, yeah, they might be legit, they might be good, but it didn't fit doesn't fit my own area. So I don't know much about it. So I can't really, make a comment either way.
Oh, all right. Thank you, sir.
All right. All right. Al, is that it?
Yeah, one
There's
more
a question
question.
from
What about
Aditola.
Bybit?
Bybit.
Uh,
Yeah, it was the one that you just hacked. So personally, except they come up with something that says they're good and verified, and what they call it, there are these people that check forensics and all of that. Please stay away from Bybit for now. Yeah.
Okay. Coach, would you encourage collaborative funding? By that, I mean couple of friends coming together to own.
Yeah, so it depends on your friendship. Money always has a way to destroy friendships. So if you guys have gotten to the point where you're beyond that, and I always believe in teamwork. I believe in what I termed the low cost army, where you come together, pool your resources, and do something together. It's fantastic. Cooperative investing is amazing, but it has its pitfalls or its downfalls as well. So you need to work it. But I think is the way to go, and that's what I encourage within my circle. let's do things together, because one will put 1,000 to fly, two 10,000. So if two is putting 10,000, I'm expecting three to put 100,000, and so on and so forth. So yes, indeed, it's the way to go, but you need to really check the people you're getting involved with and all of that. Yeah.
If so, this person's question is basically asking if you can just save money in a crypto wallet without investing or withdrawing it.
I guess. What you mean? You mean save naira or what? When you say save money, save what?
Just say, can you just deposit money in a crypto wallet and leave it there without investing it?
Yeah,
I'm
of course.
thinking, okay, and withdraw it later. So
Yes.
yeah. Okay, please, which app will help me manage and secure my coins as I intend to start the long term?
So I said there's a decent wallet. Then long term, you can buy the hard wallet as well. But the decent wallet is fine. You can easily download it now today. Okay.
Okay, so those are all the questions from the group.
All right. Thank you very much. So, any last live question? Maybe you're itching to say something that you think I didn't cover. Please, you have the.
Please spell decent, sir.
Yeah, go
The
ahead,
decent wallet.
Emmanuel.
Please spell the decent wallet.
Oh,
How
okay.
is it spelled?
Just hold on a sec. Let me even just go straight to it now so that you can see it. Look at it here. Decent. This one here. Can you see my screen? Can you see the screen?
No, sir.
You guys can't see my screen again.
I see your screen, no?
Can see your screen
now. Just under Exodus. Decent.
Okay.
Decent here. This is it here. Under Exodus wallet. Decent wallet.
Okay. Same. Thank you very much, sir.
All right. Thank you. Okay. So with that, maybe I'd like to bring this session to a close. I hope you guys have gotten something from it. I know there's a lot of information. So please take your time. There's a YouTube playback. You can always go back and listen to the parts. Yes, Bifrost is okay. I use Bifrost as well. Bifrost wallet is okay. I can see that chat, Lawrence. Yeah, so thank you. I hope you can act on something that you learned today, and hopefully we would see you guys when we are celebrating our riches. All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you very much.
What's your YouTube address? Sorry.
My coach.
Dominion Coach.
Dominion Coach. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Swano. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief Swallow.
Thank you very much.
Coach.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good night, sir.